Don Mazzella here for Small Business Digest. I got a very unusual PR piece the other day. I thought it was so interesting. I invited the head of the company to join us. And, Sex and the City has been around for, I don't know, now almost 2 decades. But uh, there's been a lot said about it. And Georgette Blau came up with a wonderful way of taking advantage of it. And I'll let her explain it all. But first, welcome, Mary. Georgette, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Georgette, tell us. I know you sponsor some unusual walking tours, but first, tell us a little bit about yourself, then about your company, and finally a website where people could learn more.
Thank you. Yes, they're actually all, except for one, they're all bus tours. So that's what our focus is. And well, first about me, my background, I was a double major in writing and basically an English major and also an architectural preservation. So I loved visiting buildings. I also loved classic TV. So that combination led me to start On Location Tours. June 12th will be 25 years. So I went to Skidmore College. After graduating, moved to New York, or I like to say moved on up to the Upper East Side. And I started noticing all of these TV and movie locations, including the Jeffersons building right by me. And so I slowly launched a side business on the weekends, which then became a much larger business, thankfully. But I was working in publishing at the time, and I launched a TV tour, which then became the NYC TV and movie tour. And I just started bringing friends to see these locations. They loved it, so I thought, well, this could be a business. Then shortly after, I launched the Sopranos tour in 2001, and then the Sex and the City tour. And since then, we've launched several others, like the superhero tour. We also have a Gossip Girl bus tour. And we have a total of about 10 tours in New York. A couple of them are now are just private, for example, like a Ghostbusters sites tour. And we also operate the Boston TV and movie tours and Chicago TV and movie tours. So we're in 3 cities. We'll be in Atlanta soon, which is nice. Um and as far as like our website, it's onlocationtours.com. It's a really easy, direct way to book.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's get into the nitty gritty. You started it as a weekend business, and I guess what made you decide to make it a full-time business?
Yeah. Well, an interesting little story. So in September of 2000, I left my full-time job. I was so miserable there. I was in publishing, and my parents, of course, were going like, "What are you doing? You're leaving your job." I already had some interviews going on, but I was sitting in my apartment in New York one day, and I said, "Wait a second. Let me look at the absolute minimum I need to make in a month to survive. Even just for a few months." Because if I take the 45 hours I was at the other job and put it into something, I could really grow this little side business. So that's what I did. I realized I needed about $1,600 a month in order to survive. And I just took it from there and developed it. I did things like I went down to, I remember this was before 9/11. I went to the AP office. I walked in and I said, please cover this. The Thankfully the writer covered the Sopranos tour, and the starting the next day we had 130 something morning radio interviews, in addition to the AP having covered it. So it was like really things like that really helped us along.
Well, why do you think it's popular?
Oh, what do you think? Yeah, really think it's the combination of people wanting to escape into this fictitious world. And also just the wonderful locations. Like, for example, a lot of the locations are off the beaten path. So, for example, on our NYC TV movie tour, we go through a lot of Tribeca. We see the Ghostbusters firehouse. on the Sex and the City tour. We visit a lot of the West Village, which is also off the beaten path for tourists. And approximately 90% of who we have on the tours are tourists and not locals. So that's why they love seeing areas of New York they wouldn't normally be able to see.
Hmm. Well, I guess that was one of my questions. Who is your audience? But how did they find out about you?
Yes. So it's a combination of different things. One is the fact that we've been around for almost 25 years. Another is thankfully a good amount of press. We sell through a lot of tour operators. For example, companies like Expedia and Viator. We until the pandemic had a full-time digital marketing person. So we've now kind of sectioned it off where we have someone handling our SEM, so the AdWords. So we do a lot of the AdWords, a lot of SEO. Um, what else? We work with concierges in hotels, but it's really not one thing. It's really a combination of things.
Hmm. Well, they teach us how to ease of entry, ease of competition. Why are uh, do you have competition, and what makes you unique?
Well, first of all, it's funny because we have a rule on the tours for the tour guides. Our tour guides are all local actors, and we're very, very selective. So we're known for our tour guides. They're truly incredible. We could easily interview 50 to 100 people to find just one person. So that's one thing that makes the experience so much better and that makes us unique. You're very, very selective. The other thing is not having competition. We it's do so much research. And, for history tours, the history kind of already happened. So there's very little you have to do with research. With us, we have to always be on top of what's filming. We even have an app called What's Filming Now. And that helps us keep track of what's filming now. How could we be up to date with the tours? Because we are talking about events and tours that are happening right now. We don't visit film sets on our tours, but we still have to be up to date on what's happening in the film world. And we also have a rule that with our actor tour guides that you can't um, talk about the history of that particular city during the tour. We feel like there are wonderful city tours out there. We're not one of them. We're about the TV shows and movies. And our tour guides are all about talking about the bloopers, the behind the scenes, things like that, which make the tours unique. We do talk about those off the beat, off the beaten path neighborhoods that we go through. For example, we'll say, oh, okay, we're in Tribeca, we're near the Ghostbusters firehouse. Tribeca stands for Triangle Below Canal. So we'll go through those tidbits, but not deep history of New York City.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I went to NYU, and I happen to know where they filmed My Sister Eileen, which is way before your time. But for many years, I always brought my dates to show them that. They always used to ooh and ah. So I know how it means. But do you go by? You go by the firehouse, for instance. You mentioned you don't go in. If I is it in a private home now or something?
Oh, no, it's actually working, firehouse. They just actually worked with Ghostbusters, but as many places that we can go into, some are exteriors. For example, the Friends building is an exterior, the, establishing shot that they used for the show, but other places we can actually go into, such as the firehouse. We go into the bar, from Sex and the City, the bar called Scout, where, the bar owned by Stephen Aiden, so people will buy Cosmos there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so as many places we can go into, and they filmed right in the bar.
Mm-hmm. For them, it's extra money because the tourists stop and pay. Yes,
Mhm.
it's do you limit the number of guests with each tour?
We do. So we have anywhere from like one bus will hold 54, and then just we would stagger it. So the most we would have, usually we stagger by half hour. So if we have two buses, it'll be like 54 and then another up to 54.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
You would
or a
have
different time of day.
that many on each tour. Hmm.
Yeah, well, for example, in Sex and the City, it's 52, usually 52 women and two angry men on every bus. That's pretty much that's how it goes.
Hmm.
But yeah, it depends on the time of year. It's not it's been a while since we've had, like one bus after the other like that, and we kind of spread things out. Like we would rather run daily rather than run a couple times, a couple times in the day.
So you've been going at it for now almost over 20 years.
25 years well, June 12th will be 25 years.
Hmm. Well, but let me ask you this question. Does it get tiring and does it get boring?
Definitely not boring. I have to say tiring. I've realized recently, I said, oh my gosh, I think I have long-term burnout because, for example, we purchased a bus 2 years ago. There are so many administrative things around that bus, with like the inspections and the insurance and the registration, that I am dealing with that all day long instead of dealing with the fun creative sides of the business. But that being said, I'm in marketing meetings and things like that, and like enjoying the creativity, of the creative way to market the business.
Hmm. Well, when you say creativity, creating new tours, staying on top, well, what does a business like yours really require?
Yeah, really, a lot of the marketing, I enjoy being part of the marketing and coming up with the marketing ideas, helping develop those, and having a say in that. So sorry about this.
So again, our audience got a little distracted. You usually on the creative side. Say that again, please.
No, I really like the helping with the creative marketing aspect of things. We always try to dip into the fictitious world of the TV show and movie, and market the tours that way. That's one of my favorite creative marketing aspects. But even the overall marketing, whatever it is, I that's what I enjoy the most. And I have a marketing manager who does the day to day, but I like to kind of lend my ear and my ideas to that. And also somewhat in the developing of new tours, but I'm less involved in that.
Well, look, do you work with the TV station, TV shows? Do they give you any sort of help?
It depends. So, like, we've actually been over the years, especially in the last few years, we've been approached by a few, and sometimes it's something that doesn't work out. We were approached by one show. I'm forgetting the one that was filmed in Brooklyn, where there were only 7 locations. So it's something that we couldn't develop into a tour because there just wasn't enough meat to it. But the studios have been coming to us a lot in the last few years. So if it works out, it's wonderful. We also, with the Sopranos and the Sex and the City tours, we used to end at the HBO store until they had the store open. So, we worked with HBO and, I mean, just not worked with them, but did certain, like, cross promotional type of marketing.
Well, you didn't go out to New Jersey for some of the soprano things in New Jersey, did you?
That's the whole tour. Yep, the whole tour departs from Midtown New York, Midtown Manhattan, and goes to out to New Jersey.
Hmm. Will you still do it?
Oh yeah, yes, 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 yep. 42 locations. We see 42 locations.
Really? A whole day? Or do you do it a whole day or just,
4 hours. It's about 4 hours.
wow. Well, what does a person, the average person pay for like for instance, soprano tour?
That's actually our most expensive tour, but it's still very reasonable. It's $72 per ticket.
Hmm.
So it's for taking you all the way out there, not having to find the locations on your own. sort of thing, and having that experience of the tour guide who's a local actor and can tell you all about the behind the scenes. So our tours range from approximately $58 to $72.
Hmm. Do you have an exit plan?
Oh my gosh. I may want to go out that door. Um, no, the problem is I've been wanting to come up with one, but I find that I'm really not done going back to the creative marketing ideas. That's really where I feel that's my strength and what I enjoy the most. So I still have so many ideas and so many things I want to do with the business that I feel like I don't want to have an exit plan yet.
Hmm. But you have three other cities, and soon four, or
Mm.
four. Um, how do you manage them? Do you have a manager on local manager? How do you do it?
Yeah, really, it's fun. For example, in Chicago, we were supposed to hire a part-time person to manage things that were on the ground. And first of all, 95% of things now could be done from anywhere. But what ended up happening there was that we had a tour guide who wanted to step up a bit. So he does a lot of the kind of, attending business card exchanges, attending local trade shows, and other things for us in Chicago.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, what is your Atlanta tour gonna focus on? TV programs or the history?
Old TV shows and movies. So it's, a combination.
Hmm. Well, I guess it is the center um, I guess it is the center of production nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable. Atlanta is somewhere around the third most popular filming location and filming city in the States.
Hmm.
They have amazing tax credits in Georgia.
Hmm. Hmm. And, um, your website for people who want to learn more.
Sure, it's onlocationtours.com. So onlocationtours.com, onlocationtours.com.
We have just a few minutes left. What would you say to someone who's thinking, who has an idea, um, and is still working? Well, how do you manage the two?
Well, first of all, I have to say now I have two kids. I never could have done it with two kids. It's really when they say that an idea is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. That's 100% true. And I also what my biggest lesson, even though this sounds obvious, but my biggest lesson from day one was not you're never going to get a ton of people from one place. You have to really put in the work to um, market to so many different places and try to cover. It's sort of first of all throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, marketing or PR wise, but also then understanding that in order you may have to be in 20 different places in order to get the word out. And you'll get two people from here and three people from there. And that's, just canvassing it is how it's worked for us.
Hmm. Okay. On that note, Georgette Blau, we say thank you for a very illuminating time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.